This video will contain spoilers for The Last of Us Season 2 finale. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it. Beware, spoilers, you've been warned. And also spoilers for the game, The Last of Us Part 2. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Let's talk about it. After thinking about the episode for a couple days, I think I'm ready to talk about it. And I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm going to give my rating first. I'm going to go right into the rating. The narrative is going to get a 25 out of 50. The cinematography is getting a 15 out of 20. The sound is getting a 10. The effects are getting a 10. Bonus points, 5 bonus points. In total, that brings it to a 65 out of 100. A D+. That is the lowest score I have given on an episode of this show, well, season 2. And I don't know, man. I was a little rougher with this episode. People have criticized my leniency, and that's not why. Well, it's not the full reason why. My whole point of grading these was to acknowledge the show as its own thing, right? To detach it as much as possible from the game, but it is really difficult to do that. And the way that they choose to be so faithful to certain aspects of the game and then be so unfaithful about other aspects of the game make it really difficult to think about only the show as its own entity. So I was a little rougher with this episode. As you can see, it got a D+. And yeah, let's talk about it more. Let's go through each category, and we're going to start with the narrative. I feel like the narrative just suffered a lot of little issues. Some of them are just personal things that I feel were awkward or didn't work, but let's go through each thing. So Ellie telling Dena what Joel did. I think Dena knowing doesn't really matter since she already did her part in this journey. So whether she knows or not, doesn't matter. It's not going to influence what actions she, takes, what she decides to do, because from the looks of it, she's out for the count. She's not going to do much more. She's already helped with what she was going to help with. Whether she thinks Abby and her friends deserve to be killed doesn't matter anymore, because she can't really do anything else. The only thing for me that just feels weird and awkward is like the back and forth of her, insisting on revenge and now kind of being like, oh, we need to go home after finding out the truth. It's just a little awkward because one of the things she said in episode 5 was that it wouldn't make a difference who hurt who first. She would still want to get revenge on the people that killed her family or the people that she cares about, right? So why the switch up now that she knows that Joel, hurt the people Abby loves first? Why does it matter who hurt who now? Is it the fact that, maybe she sees Joel as more like the raider that killed her family as opposed to seeing Joel as, her family? Or is it the fact that he denied the world a cure? Maybe that's what, the problem is for her now. But like the switch up and the back and forth of like, we need revenge. Or was like, oh, maybe we should go home. It's like, well, are you upset or are you not upset? Are you okay with the revenge? Are you not okay with the revenge now? Because it kind of contradicts your dialogue or your whole speech in episode 5. Which is it, Dena? Because it's just a little like where do you stand on this now? They could have avoided, these kinds of questions or this kind of awkwardness if they had just kept her in the dark about what Joel did. Like, they didn't need to do this. The game didn't do it, and it worked out just fine. Jesse is one of the strongest parts of this show. He's different, obviously. And at first, I was a little skeptical about the changes and, what Jesse was like in the show. But honestly, all the things he's done make sense. The changes that they've made to the character aren't bad. He's shown as a competent leader. That's good. It's not like they're making him unlikable or anything. Like, he's an honorable, competent guy. He's kind of seen as like the future leader of Jackson, and he tries to carry himself in that way. He tries to be dependable, and that's great. I love that. And now, he knows that he's going to be a father, and he's immediately like, I can't die. I'm going to be a father. I need to be there for my kid. So like, I am needed by people and I'm going to try to be there for people. That's his perspective. That's what's going through his head. And that's a true sign of selflessness. I love this for Jesse's character. I really like Jesse. I think he's the strongest part of this episode. So we see Jesse, showing off his leadership skills in the scene where that young Scar is being attacked by wolves. Ellie insists on just jumping in and intervening. But Jesse, he's kind of like, wait, stop, stay here. We're not going to win this gunfight. It's 2 against 6. This has nothing to do with us. Yeah, it sucks that they have to let, this poor kid die. Well, we don't see him die on screen. He just gets dragged away. But they can't put themselves at risk. It's like Jesse said, this isn't their war. He needs to make sure that him and his friends make it back to Jackson alive. That's what's important to him. And that's leadership. That's good leadership. That's competence. This is also good to show, that Jesse is more calculated, more strategic, and Ellie is more gung-ho and more driven by impulses, right? Which is a mischaracterization. Because in the game, we see Ellie be tactical. We see her be, strategic. If you're playing the game, you're playing strategically. It's like, I've seen a lot of strategic gameplay. I'm just saying. Take this clip from the gameplay trailer for part 2. Ellie is seen standing by and watching as somebody gets killed. This is gameplay, but the way Ellie is played by most players, which is most likely to be strategically, is the way we perceive Ellie to be as a character and a fighter. So showing her as anything but competent, which is what Craig Mazin is leading us to believe, deems HBO's Ellie as a mischaracterization. Moving on to the scenes with the WLF, honestly, I am not that interested in this scene. Aside from episode 3's like cold open, or what was it, episode 4, and the interrogation scene in that episode, I was interested in those, but after that, I just don't really care. It has nothing to do with Dena and Ellie's journey. It feels very disconnected. In the game, during Ellie's part of part 2, we saw, glimpses of the WLF and what was going on, but it was out of context. We wouldn't get the full story or the full context of it until Abby's part of the game. And I think that worked because we engaged with the WLF a lot more in the game. And in the show, Dena and Ellie are hardly engaging with any of the WLF. The only exposition we get for what's going on that side of Seattle and the war are through these scenes of Isaac and maybe some of the generals and what's her name from Euphoria. Not just Euphoria, I'm sorry, Ted, the series. But aside from these scenes, we're not getting any other scenes with them. We have no time to really get to know them and care about them and care about what's going on, to the point where it's the finale. And this is like the 4th scene that I've seen with the WLF. And the dialogue itself is really weird. Like this general talking to Isaac, like questioning him about Abby. Like, are you in love with her? Like, what? Like, that's the only reason that somebody would be like interested in somebody's whereabouts? They're in love? I'm assuming that she's, an important, higher up general of the WLF, and she's in the know of the things that are going on in this organization, in this military group. How does she not know, how capable, how important Abby is to the WLF? Like, has she never met Abby? Like, has she only heard of her? Like, how is she clueless about Abby being, the next in command, so to speak? Unless there's some aspect of, like, jealousy, where, like, she wants to be like Abby, or she thinks she deserves to be second in command, or the next person in line. I don't know. It's just weird. So the argument with Jesse and Ellie, I enjoyed watching this. We finally see Ellie, pushing things aside for revenge. We finally see her just express how in pain she is. I'm glad we finally got to see like an expression of pain and grief from her. And it's the finale. It took them 7 episodes to actually have her crash out. Obviously, we saw her kill Nora a few episodes ago, but aside from that, it's like, that's it, guys. That's the angriest we've seen her. aside from that moment, Jesse confesses he voted no on the vote to go avenge Joel. This took me by surprise. I really thought that he voted yes. But after what he said about, everything Ellie does, she does for herself, I understand. Because, I mean, they explained that in episode 3, that not everybody gets to avenge their loved ones. So many people died on that infected attack, and to only allow one person to go out and get revenge, it's not fair. It's very unfair because everybody else just has to live with the fact that their loved ones are dead. Obviously, Ellie has to accept that too, but she's the only one that gets the satisfaction of pinning it to the people, that did it. She's the only one that gets to avenge him. It's like it's not fair. So I understand why he voted no. Also, they made Ellie kind of unlikable in this scene. I know she's angry and she's out for revenge and stuff, but the way that she just yells like "fuck the community," it just feels very like that's not necessary. It's possible, she's just angry, she's grieving and she's just saying things that she doesn't necessarily mean. It just feels unnecessary. And then she calls Jesse a hypocrite, which is like, what? He hasn't done anything like hypocritical. He hasn't done anything that goes against his morals throughout this whole series. So why call him a hypocrite? Like, Ellie is just kind of just saying things right now. So they argue. He tells Ellie, I hope you make it, because she wants to go get Abby. And she goes to the boat. And this boat scene, this whole thing with her washing up on the Scar Island, I just feel like it's a little forced. It just feels like they were like, oh, well, obviously there's a storm, so she's going to have trouble getting there. Let's have her wash up on the Scar Island because we haven't seen her interact with Scars as much as we have with the wolves. They were like, oh, we need to have one more Scar interaction before the finale. Because aside from this one, they only had one encounter with the Scars all season. The first one where they find the dead Scars doesn't count because they're dead. The next one would be when Dena got an arrow through her knee, and that's it. That's literally it. They've only seen little Easter eggs of feel her love and the aftermath with the guts and everything. That's it. Ellie hasn't had any other encounter with live Scars trying to kill her. So it just felt like the writers were like, oh, we need her to interact with them just one more time. And it felt so quick too. It's like, oh, how convenient. The wolves are attacking now. Okay, Ellie can leave now. They just had to squeeze in a couple more Scars into the season before it ended. The scene with Owen and Mel. This was stronger in the game. Ellie in this scene kills them like by mistake. She's like, oh god, when she shoots Owen. And it's just like, I watched the scene again after watching this episode, and the game just feels a lot more energetic. They get physical with each other, right? And it's like, why couldn't we get that in the show? Don't get me wrong, the show was still tense. It was still dramatic. I enjoyed watching it. It just felt like Ellie was too remorseful. It didn't feel as threatening as in the game. Mel's death, though, I will say was done very well. I feel like it really put Ellie in a very uncomfortable position. That's like very traumatizing. I just really feel like it would have been more of a whiplash moment if Ellie was actually willing to kill them and not just like an accident. If she was, actually there to kill them and happily killed them, it would have been like a shocking realization that Mel was pregnant. And then it would have, and then having her tasked with cutting the baby out, that would have been like whiplash, like holy shit, I just happily like murdered this woman and now she's like pleading me to take her baby out. That would have been crazy. Why didn't they do that? I don't know. And the scene in the game too, when she finds out that she's pregnant, she like has a panic attack. She doesn't like just cry. She's like her hand at her stomach. She's like hyperventilating, and that's when Tommy and Jesse come in. In the game, she's just crying. I just feel like there's something so visceral about just having a panic attack, not just crying, but having like just this aching feeling inside. And it's just like that would have been a lot more fitting after realizing that you killed a pregnant woman, knowing that you are taking care of a pregnant woman yourself back at the theater. It wasn't as strong as it could be, and it just like, ooh. We finally see Tommy in this half of the season, and he doesn't seem really eager for revenge. He's just kind of like, hey, I mean, they got what they deserved, right? That's it. You know, we heard through the walkie-talkie earlier in the episode, you know, that he was shooting, he was sniping people. So hopefully in season 3, in 2027, God, can we like gloss over that real quick? 2 years from now, I'm not gonna care. Well, I'll care, but like with the WLF stuff, I hardly care right now. We hardly spent any time. I'm not gonna care 2 years from now. But anyway, hopefully in season 3, we see a more vengeful side of him. You know, we weren't there with him, you know, while he was in Seattle. So hopefully we'll see more of his and Jesse's side of the story. So of course they decide to head back, you know, makes sense. They've been through a lot. Ellie and Dena have been through a lot, and they're calling it wraps. Jesse and Ellie, you know, they make up after their argument, and one problem that I have is that Ellie states that Jesse comes back for her because he is a good person. This sort of bothers me because it implies that whether he was a good person or not was ever in question. The only quote-unquote bad thing that he's done is stand by while a kid was attacked. He did that because he puts his community first, and he's expected to be a pillar of the community, and he's a father to be. So obviously, he's not going to put his life at risk to hurt somebody who has nothing to do with him. Standing by in that situation was not bad, and he went back to save Ellie because she is part of his community. This conversation or this line is phrased as, you know, Ellie proving a point, but that isn't the case. It just proves that Jesse is not a hypocrite and will protect people he considers is part of his community. Ellie is his community. And the fact that he saved Ellie, who was an outsider, she was a refugee, as Maria put it, he still decides to save her. He still considers her part of his community, a friend. Yeah, so this conversation and being like, oh, well, you came back because you're a good person. It's like, well, that wasn't ever in doubt. He went to Seattle in the first place to save Ellie and Dena. He wouldn't have done that if he was a hypocrite. That's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think about that, because I don't know. That kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. Jesse's death was as sudden as in the game, and rest in peace, Jesse. He was, Saint Jesse of Jackson. You will be missed. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this like dozens of times in the game, and it was just as tragic right now in the episode. It's really hard to mess up this scene because, you know, he just drops like that. Boom, that's it. We finally see Abby. We see the bruises on her neck, which foreshadow, you know, the events of her part of the whole 3-day Seattle fiasco. So, you know, hopefully this is confirmation that we're going to see a lot of the same things that we see in the game in the show in 2027. Another out of character Ellie moment here. She says that she didn't mean to hurt her friends. She's kind of like remorseful about it. It's like, why? Yes, you did. You meant to do this. What are you talking about? In the game, she tells that one guy, I forgot his name because he's not in the show this season, that you can't stop this.
How many came with you? Just you two?
You can't stop this.
That is like full on intent on killing everybody. And now in the show, you know, we see Ellie being like, I didn't mean to hurt them. It was a mistake. Like, what are you here for, Ellie? Like, what? I don't know if she is just lying to try to get out of the situation, or if this is just a straight up out of character moment. Either way, it's just like weird. Like, why are we like, why? That's all I have to say about that. Why? Why, Ellie? Why? That's pretty much all I have for the narrative. This is why I gave it a 25 out of 50. So the cinematography, I'm docking 5 points for literally the cliffhanger at the end with Abby pointing the gun at Ellie and Ellie just being like, no, boom. And it just feels comical. It feels Watch it. Watch this.
I let you live. And you wasted it.
Does that not feel weird? It feels funny. It feels like a comedy. The cutoff is just so... Even if they had held that, plead for her life a little bit longer, it would have felt a little bit more dramatic. But because they cut it so close, it just feels funny. It just feels like a Twitter clip. And I'm not supposed to be laughing. It's supposed to be dramatic. I'm supposed to look at my reflection in the black screen once it cuts off, like, oh shit, like what's happening? But I kind of have a smirk on my face because I'm like, that was a funny cutoff. So I'm docking it 5 points from that because it just felt very like, what? Do you guys know the genre you're editing in? Like, the sound, I'm giving a 10 out of 10. Nothing to complain about with the sound. The effects, also 10 out of 10. Nothing to complain about there. Bonus points, I am giving it 5 out of 5 bonus points because I feel like the episode really needs it. I think it pulled a good amount of content from the game. We got the scene with Dena cleaning Ellie. We got that foreshadowing of the crane as Ellie and Jesse were walking through Seattle. We got their argument, the ending scene, the finale scene in the theater. Bonus points for Jesse just as a whole. His character was done well. I enjoyed his screen time. Rest in peace. I hope we do get more screen time in the next season in 2027 because he's a pleasure to watch. I hope we see a little bit more of him and what him and Tommy, were going through. Seeing Abby again was great. And seeing the foreshadowing of the crane, like I mentioned, and the bruises around her neck, and knowing that, spoiler alert for, future characters and stuff, knowing that Lev is most likely off screen in that ending scene is just cool. Yeah, some good stuff there. And that's the bonus points, right? So again, the overall score was a 65 out of 100, a D+. This was a rough finale. I really wish that I had rated it higher. I just felt like a hollow feeling after the episode. Not hollow of like, oh my god, this series is over, but more of like, I was expecting to have like this level of excitement, but I had this much. And I know that, I was never going to be all the way up here because I know what happens. I know who lives and dies. I know how the story progresses. So obviously I'm not going to be as, affected as somebody who's never played the game or knows anything about it. But I've rewatched Breaking Bad like 6 times. And after every season that I watch, I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is good. But I didn't feel that with this. I just felt like, I guess it's it. I guess that's over. Like the endings, Abby pointing the gun at Ellie and having it cut off at the gunshot. It's like Breaking Bad season 3's finale where Jesse points the gun at Gail Bedecker and it cuts off. Those two scenes are essentially similar. They're pretty much the same, right? 2 characters pointing a gun at somebody and then boom, cut to black. We don't know what happens. But one of them is comically edited and the other one is dramatically edited. One of them leaves you even speculating, did they even shoot the person? Like, because there's like some kind of angling going on. And the other one is just like, the tone is very different for each. And one of them is better. And I don't think I have to clarify which one. I'm going to leave it there. That's been the season 2 finale review. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I feel like even now after recording this video, I just have like a weird feeling. It feels like it hasn't even ended because it's only been 7 episodes. I feel like that's a big problem. Like they didn't give us enough time to really engage with the world, engage with the characters and the narrative. So by the time that it's over in 7 episodes, it feels like, I feel like we've barely even started. We've barely done anything. And in 2027, I'm going to be even less invested. But I don't know. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to, keep beating this dead horse. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, this review. Although the season is over, there are a lot of things that I have thought about within this season that I would like to dive into a little bit deeper. So focus in on like certain subjects. So I do plan on making videos about specific aspects of the show. So stay tuned for that. I'm not going to promise, specifically what video, what topic, what subject, because I'm still working that out. So yeah, that's been it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.